Hello, I'm Gregory Payne, the Chair of Communication Studies, the co-chair of the Center for Global Communication at Blanquerna and Emerson, and I'm here for another edition of Payne on Politics. Today, I'm very excited to actually interview one of Emerson's best. He's been a strong advocate of sports communication. He has been stellar in his own career. Tim Neverett, welcome to Payne on Politics.
Thanks, Greg. Great to be here, and always great to be on campus.
You know, it's been wonderful to have you here the last couple of days. First of all, could you tell us exactly your pathway, because you've had such wonderful success. Last night you were speaking to my Olympics class, but the day you graduated, where did Tim Neverett go?
The day I graduated, I went home to Nashua, New Hampshire. I had, finding jobs back in the mid to late 80s was a little different than it is today. Mm-hmm. There wasn't the online presence to do it. So it was a little bit more difficult. So what I actually did was I went back home and went back to my old summer job so that I could kind of decompress. After 4 years of college, I went and I worked for the school department, and I cut grass. I lined athletic fields. And I'd been doing that for the last 3 summers in between semesters. So I went back there. My boss was like, yeah, come back here, and when you have a job interview, you take a day off. He goes, I don't want you to be here at the end of the summer, he told me. I want you to have a job.
Right.
So I had some interviews, and a couple things didn't work out. And finally, I had a standing offer at a radio station in my hometown that also owned a newspaper, a weekly newspaper. And they brought me on to do high school sports, to broadcast high school sports, to sell for the newspaper, sell for the radio station. And I did that full time for a year before I got a call out of the blue from another radio station in Leominster, Massachusetts.
Right.
And they said, we'd like you to come here and do more high school sports, and we'd like you to do morning show sports and this and that, and sell a little bit for us. And it turned out I ended up being a midday DJ too. So I did that, and then I would say less than a year later, I got hired here in Boston by a group called Star Communications, and we did the very first network sports radio, and it was all overnight. Mm-hmm. And it was a brilliant concept. Our studio was in East Boston, right by the Maverick station on the Blue Line. Mm-hmm. But it was a brilliant concept because it was overnight radio.
Right.
So it would start at 11 o'clock at night, and we'd go to like 4 or 5 in the morning. And for all of at the time, the sports radio format was still barely a 24-hour thing. I think WFAN in New York had just barely started going 24 hours.
Yes.
And then WIP in Philadelphia would follow next. But we had other stations around the country that wanted sports overnight. So this helped launch a lot of 24-hour sports stations because they didn't have to have local programming.
Right.
And it was on a barter situation. They didn't have to pay for it. So I became a network talk show host and doing it overnight, and a producer, and did all kinds of things. And from there, I got a call from a group out of Las Vegas that said, hey, you're on our affiliate here. We're looking for somebody from your part of the country. Would you like to come out here and host middays for us on our brand new 24-hour sports network that's going to be national on a certain date, and we have so many affiliates. And so I flew out and talked to them, and they hired me. Mm-hmm. And I went to Las Vegas, and that began a long run out west.
Right.
Started doing play-by-play of the AAA team there, and UNLV sports and other things. And then I got a call from a group in Colorado at ESPN Radio there. They said, we'd like you to come up, be our morning show host, and do play-by-play for us and stuff. So I ended up going up there and got hooked up with Fox Television and did a lot of things with the Rockies and college sports and Broncos, and just took off. I mean, things really, I started doing a lot of national television at that point. Got hired by the Pittsburgh Pirates, went and did radio television for the Pittsburgh Pirates for a number of years. Then I got hired by the rights holder for the Red Sox. I did Red Sox radio for 3 years with Hall of Famer Joe Castiglione, and got a World Series ring from the Red Sox in 2018.
We were happy about that.
Yeah, the parade came right by Emerson.
Yes,
and
yes. We've had hot dogs, I think, that day too.
I was on one of the duck boats. I mean, I got the whole treatment, right? And then I got a call that season, before we had the parade, I had already known I was going to the Dodgers, and I couldn't
Yes.
say anything. And I've been with the Los Angeles Dodgers ever since, doing television and radio.
World
and
champions
so,
2 years
yeah,
in a row, right?
World champs
Yes.
back to back, and going for a third one this year.
So, Tim, when you think about Emerson, and you've been such an advocate for SportsCom, what is it about Emerson that really provided you I would say, the wherewithal as well as the background to do what you've done?
I think the hands-on opportunities.
Yes.
When I was looking at schools in high school, late in high school, and visiting colleges and things like that, I was often told the same thing, that you come in here, you do your core classes for your freshman year, maybe your sophomore year, and when you're a junior, you can get on the radio station or you can get your hands-on experience. When I came to Emerson, I got a different message entirely. You're a first semester freshman? Yeah, you can get hands-on experience. You want to dive in? They said, it's up to you. You're your own motivator.
Yes.
And I said, that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
And when I got here, that's the first thing I did was I got on with WECB radio as a first semester freshman. By my sophomore year, I was the sports director, and I did that my sophomore and junior year, and we innovated. We did a lot of different things. We did the very first live play-by-play broadcast of men's basketball from the old Don Bosco High School gym.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I ran a 100-foot telephone cord under the stands and used the athletic director's telephone to call the board on the radio station. And we figured out how to do it. And we did a lot of different things, a lot of fun things that we would do in a commercial station. We took a professional approach to it, not a young collegiate approach, I would say. I would say we took a professional approach toward things, and the staff that worked for me, under me, that I managed, that was kind of my message to them is, if you're from New York, do it like they do it in New York. If you're from Boston, do it like they do it in the commercial market. I said, let's not treat this as college radio where we're just goofing around and having fun. Let's do it as the pros would do it, because if you're going to learn something, do it the way you're going to do it when you get out of here, because that's going to help you. And I became very motivated, and I thought that this was a great place for me to be as creative as I needed to be as hands-on as I needed to be. And, my first commercial radio job, the equipment wasn't nearly as good as it was at Emerson.
Yes.
So we were spoiled a little bit too.
That's good to hear.
Even
yes.
back then.
Yes.
And so when I went to work in commercial radio, I'm like, what is this antique I'm working with? But it's still, everything I learned here helped me along the way. And I credit Emerson with everything, because I don't think I would have had the experience, the know-how, the contacts through Alumni to be able to get where I got in my career if I wasn't launched out of Emerson.
Well, one thing that, again, when we started sports communication, which it's not even been a decade, it's now one of the most popular majors. From your perspective, of course, you came from journalism, et cetera. Where is the sports communication area today? Because it seems to be exploding. As I said, very popular here and elsewhere.
It is, and I think in terms of business and a place to work, there are more opportunities now than ever. I mean, there's influencers with YouTube channels. They need the skills.
Yes.
They need the video skills. They need the audio skills. They need the production skills. They need the editing skills. They need the marketing skills. They need all these things that you can get here in sports comm. People who are working in mainstream television and radio, in new media, social media, sports media relations, sports PR, sports marketing. There's more opportunities than ever in professional and collegiate sports than ever before. Women's sports are at a high right now, with women's professional soccer, with brand new TV deals for the NWSL. You've got the new women's volleyball league that has done well. They have a new television deal. The WNBA is more popular than it's ever been. So you're seeing a real growth in women's sports. And I've had students, I feel rewarded because I've had students that have come out of my classes and have graduated from Emerson that now work in professional women's sports at the highest level. So that's a good thing. It's a really good thing. And I just think there are more opportunities than ever. And that's why I think that students who are interested in sports comm, when they get here, they probably have an idea what they'd like to do. But I think once they're exposed to all the things that are out there,
Right.
their path might take a little twist and turn before they get to where exactly they want to be. But I think they realize how much there is out there, and I think Emerson gives them that exposure.
Terrific. I'm thinking when we look at what your career has been. I mean, you said you started out doing high school, and I think that's exciting because some of our students now are doing local high school. But you've also spanned the Olympics. Last night in my Olympics class, you talked about the fact that you've had some interesting experiences. How do you think, as I said, Emerson prepared you because you knew exactly what was expected? Can you share something about maybe one of your biggest challenges in covering the Olympics?
Yeah. Well, I told the story last night. The biggest challenge I had was in 2004 in Athens at the Athens Olympic Games. I was there to do baseball, softball, and men's and women's basketball. So I was prepared for that. One of the things I learned at Emerson was how to prepare and always be prepared. So I'm preparing, and it's a couple of days before the opening ceremonies, and that's when soccer begins. So I'm in the International Broadcast Center where we had broadcast booths, off-site broadcast booths. And I'm in there doing some research on baseball, and I'm the only one in there. And our executive producer, who's this great gentleman from New Zealand, and he runs in and looks all harried and furrowed, and he says, "Have you ever done football?" And me being the American sportscaster, immediately said, "Yeah, lots of it." And then I realized what he meant.
Yes.
And I had never done soccer before. And he said, "Good, because in 10 minutes you're doing the preliminary round match between Iraq and Portugal. Our announcer is caught in traffic. He can't get here.
Yes.
The roads are closed, and there's nobody else but you to do it." And I said, "So you don't mind that the 110 countries this broadcast is going to be seen and heard in, that everybody watching this match knows more about soccer than me?" He goes, "There's 3 criteria." He said, "You're under contract, you speak English, and you're present." He said, "Good luck."
So you've got it, the confidence.
Yeah, and I had no analyst. I had to do it by myself.
Yes.
And so I had less than 10 minutes to prepare for this match. So a couple of other announcers came out of their booths who were doing other preliminary matches at different locations, and they gave me in like 5 or 6 minutes as much as they could. I remembered a couple of stories from my travels. I happened to be on the same team as the Portuguese Olympic soccer team, and I recognized Ronaldo. He was the only guy I knew because he was just world famous at the time. And so I used that story and talked about that. Every time he touched the ball, hey, Ronaldo's got it, because I knew who had it.
Right.
But it was a long 90 minutes of calling soccer. It was my first match. But what happened after that was, because of that experience, I ended up doing a number of college soccer events, championship events, regular season events, and a number of different conferences. I ended up probably doing 40 to 50 soccer matches after that.
Right.
And I wouldn't have done that had I not had that Olympic experience, but it was tough. But after that, any surprise they threw at me, I was ready for.
Yes, yes. As I said, it's interesting to see how much you've given back. When we talk about the Emerson Mafia, one thing we're trying to do is grow the sportscom presence as well as public relations, political comm in LA. As somebody who's been here as well as LA, what would you say for Emerson students? Why should they come? Of course, the entertainment kids, film kids already go. But how about the School of Comm kids? Why is LA so important?
LA is important because of what's there. I mean, first of all, if you're film, television, where the campus is, you're on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood.
Yes.
You're right there. I mean, you're right in the middle of everything. You're walking distance to Paramount. I mean, the Pantages Theater is a couple blocks away. I mean, you're right in the heart of everything. It's a beautiful building. It's a great little campus area. Plenty to do around there. But from the sports side of things, for as much as there is in Boston, there's 2 to 3 times as much in LA, in that whole region. It's a big area.
Right.
So Major League Baseball, you get the Dodgers and the Angels. Granted, they're 45 minutes apart. You have the Ducks and the Kings in Anaheim and LA. In the NHL, you have the Clippers and the Lakers. You have the Chargers and the Rams. You got 2 of everything.
Yes.
The college sports scene's big. Soccer's big. You have LAFC, which is right on the USC campus. It's right there. a beautiful BMO Stadium. You've got women's soccer with Angel City, who plays in the same place. So I mean, so you've got everything there, and I think that I know I would love to see SportsCom grow in LA as well, just because of the internship opportunities that are there. We're finally making inroads with some Emersonians with the extremely competitive Dodgers internship and fellowship program.
Right.
I know we have a student that was offered fellowship, and the first Emerson student to
Which
do
is
that.
really a tribute, I
So-
think, to the hard work that I think you and other professors give.
Well, and it's a testament to what they've learned and how
Yes.
prepared they were.
Yes.
That they beat out people from all around the country and
Right.
other major colleges and universities to earn this fellowship. So it's a growing market, I think, for Emerson students and for SportsCom. But I think in the two markets, in Boston and in LA, they're just terrific for what we're trying to accomplish.
Right, right. Well, Tim, what I would say is one of the exciting things about being chair of comm studies is to see and work with you in terms of developing the sports comm major. As you know, we want to expand sports at Emerson. We look forward to you not just coming once, but like to have you often coming back. And we've got a program I know out in the summer. So please know that anytime you can come back to Boston, we always like to say, welcome home, Tim.
Well, I always feel like I'm at home when I'm here. Even though when I went, the campus was located in a little different area of the
Yeah.
city. But, coming back here, having taught here when I was with the Red Sox, teaching here in person, and then still being able to come back and be welcomed and see a lot of familiar faces. And it is a homecoming for me. I wish I could come back more often. Geography makes it tough.
Yes.
But it's something where, I know a lot of my classmates, frankly, they tell me they're envious of my position with the college, because they know I can come back. As you mentioned, I come back when I can, and it's rewarding to meet with students. It's rewarding to help students and to give back, because I got so much from the college. I think that for me, I feel an obligation to try to help as much as I can and give back in ways that I can, both to students, to student athletes in the baseball program particularly. It's just important to me personally, because Emerson gave me a lot, and I never forgot it.
Well, what I would say, I think for each generation, we talk about the Emerson Mafia. You epitomize the very, very best. So we look forward to seeing you on the East Coast as well as the West Coast. And as I said, anytime you're here, please come up and inspire the students.
I always appreciate it, and always good to see you, Greg.
All the best. So another edition of Pain on Politics. Until next time, always visit us here at Boston at Emerson College, the first school of communication in the United States.